The characters in the cards were based on the legendary characters in the world, such as King Imhaya of Nilfgaard, King Foltest of Temeria, King Demavend of Edern, who was wearing a crown, and the beautiful Queen Meve of Lyria and Revia. Every Gwent card was a dwarf's labor of love. Their flawless craftsmanship, gorgeous artwork, and perfect design were divine and impossible to forge. Some of the unique cards were created by a dwarf grandmaster, making them masterpieces. A normal card would usually go for a couple of crowns at most, and most shops would sell a few of them. Some of the rarer ones could cost as much as a house in Vengerberg, the capital of Edern, but the collectors who would sell those were scarce. After watching a few matches, Roy saw Nilfgaardian decks, Northern Kingdom decks, and even Skellige Isles decks, but there were no monster cards or Scoia'tael decks. Monster cards were rare, while Scoia'tael decks, well. Scoia'tael was an alliance who helped Nilfgaard ambush the humans in the Northern Kingdoms in the war. The Northern War hadn't begun yet in the year 1260, which meant nobody knew of Scoia'tael, and that meant no decks. Scoia'tael decks would only emerge after the Northern War, where a dwarf grandmaster would create the expansion pack. Hey, Roy, why aren't you at home? It's past your bedtime. You shouldn't be in an inn. When One-Eyed Jack tried to pat Roy's head with his furry hand, Roy evaded it easily. Roy gave him a sheepish grin. He was only 13, so acting cute wasn't something to be ashamed about. As long as it gets me what I need. I'm waiting for Brandon, Jack. He said he'd treat me to some fruit wine tonight, Roy lied. He was waiting because he had a deal to keep. He'd teach Brandon a simple magic trick he'd learned online in his past life. The Gwent match came as a surprise though. Roy thought he could make some money out of it, for the players in Witcher 3 would invariably get addicted to Gwent. An ugly smile carved itself on One-Eyed Jack's weathered, wrinkly face. That fatso? He'd steal his old man's money just to have some booze here. His wine is diluted with water though. If I didn't do that, Orc Fletcher would have found out about it and whooped his ass. Don't pick up that habit. At the same time, his eyes shone, and One-Eyed Jack quickly placed a white Gwent card on the board. Sit somewhere else, boy. My old friend's coming, and tonight I'm going to win all his crowns. I ain't taking no for an answer. Jack, since we both have nothing to do, why don't I play with you as your warm-up? Jack shook his head. Do you even have Gwent cards? There's no way a kid would have the money for Gwent.